DraftKings.com today. Must be 21 or older and in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Welcome to Extra Innings, presented by Great Bar. Great Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. And by Circa Sports. Circa Sports. Sports betting the way it should be. On the voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
That was a tough one today for the Cardinals as they end up losing to the Chicago Cubs in 10 innings. Final score 4-2. Welcome into the Circa Sports Extra Inning Show here on KMOX. My name is Matt Pauley. Here's just a quick rundown of what we are going to be doing here really over the next 2 hours and 45 minutes or so. This is going to be a very, very quick edition of the Circa Sports Extra Inning Show. And then when we wrap this thing up, Kevin Wheeler is going to come alongside, and we are going to have Redbird Rush Hour. It will really be Redbird Rush half hour for the rest of the 5 o'clock hour, and then we'll get underway with Sports Open Line, and that will get going at 6 o'clock. But we got a few things to get to before we can get to all of that, as we do want to go through some of the things that happened today between the Cardinals and the Cubs. Let's start with our cut of the game. Our cut of the game, it is sponsored by the Diamond Shop, thediamondshop.net. It certainly was good. The Cardinals were down in this game. J.J. Weatherholt, he's going through a little bit of a slump lately. His numbers at Busch Stadium this year have not been great, but he was able to come through in a big way in the 7th inning.
Count in his favor, 2-1. The pitch is hit high and deep to right field. He got it! Yes, he did! Weatherholt has tied the game. He hits a hanging curveball into the bleachers, and we're tied at 2 here in the 7th inning.
You felt good about that after the Cardinals had the great comeback win yesterday. Thought that might be the start of a comeback in this one, but it just wasn't meant to be. The 10th inning did not go especially well for Luis Gastelum and the Cardinals, as we will get to our insurance run of the game, sponsored by Ramsey Insurance in Bowen, Illinois, proudly representing Auto Owners Insurance. As the Cubs, they come in the 10th inning and they would take the lead when Alex Bregman would double. So that would give them a 1-run lead. However, they would add on to that lead with Ian Happ at the plate.
Gastelum checks the runner at second, delivers home, and that ball is laced down the right field line. That's a hit. Scoring from second is Bregman, and it's going to go all the way to the corner on the double by Ian Happ. And the Cubs, again in the 10th inning, take a 2-run lead, just like they did yesterday. It's 4-2 Chicago.
So unfortunately today, that's our insurance run of the game. We always like when the insurance comes from the other side of things. Insurance run of the game, sponsored by Ramsey Insurance in Bowen, Illinois, proudly representing Auto Owners Insurance. Some of the other numbers coming out of this game today as we get to Who's on a Roll. Who's on a Roll is sponsored by Circa Sports, sports betting the way it should be. How about Mason Wynn smacking his Major League high 7th career hit over Javier Assad? He is 7 for 9. That's a 778 average with a home run and 2 walks in his career against Assad. That was certainly good. And also congratulations to Ryan Stanek as he was able to eclipse 500 career innings pitched. He did that when he retired Michael Conforto for the first out in the 8th inning. And some of the other numbers from this one today, by the numbers, sponsored by Bank of Springfield. Bank boldly, bank with BOS, member FDIC. Andre Palante, he was very good in this game. Struck out the first 2 batters he faced in a start for the second time in his career, and third Cardinals pitcher to do so this season. Michael McGreevy and Dustin May had also do that. He induced his 12th ground ball double play of the year that ties Michael McGreevy for the lead. J.J. Weatherholt hit his first home run at Busch Stadium since May 19th against Pittsburgh. That was a walk-off win, if I remember correctly, for the Cardinals to snap a string of 6 straight home runs in road contests. He becomes the first Cardinal to tie the game with a home run in the 7th inning or later against Chicago since Harrison Bader did it in September of 2021, and the first at home since, how about this one? Matt Adams did it in May of 2016. He is the first Cardinals rookie to hit a game-tying home run in the seventh inning or later against the Cubs since Greg Garcia did it in 2015, and he has reached base safely in his first 10 career games against the Cubs, the seventh Cardinal in history to do so. The Cardinals dropped to 8-5 in extra innings. They've lost their last 4 home series finales. They hadn't lost a home series against the Cubs since they had dropped 3 games in a 4-game set back in July of 2023, and they play extra innings against the Cubs for the first time since 2022 at Wrigley Field. That is going to do it for the Circa Sports Extra Innings show, but don't you go anywhere. Kevin Wheeler is going to pop in, and Kevin and myself will take you the rest of the hour for Redbird Rush Hour. That is up next. This has been the Circa Sports Extra Innings show here on KMOX.
The Diamond Shop, making St. Louis sparkle for over 100 years, offers a wide selection of engagement and wedding rings, fine jewelry, and watches to suit your style and budget. Visit us at 12 North Central Avenue or schedule a virtual appointment at thediamondshop.net.
When you own a business, there's no shortage of things you have to handle every day. Sometimes it can make you feel like a juggler in a 3-ring circus. At BOS, we're here to give you a hand. Whether it's reducing your exposure to check fraud, setting up direct deposit, or helping make credit card processing seamless, BOS is here for you, your employees, and your customers. Are you ready to stop juggling?
To introduce 2 brand new opportunities in St. Charles County. Discover Crooked Creek at Cottleville Trails, featuring stylish new townhomes from the high 300s and access to incredible amenities that make Cottleville Trails one of the area's most sought-after communities. Or find the space you've been dreaming of at South Point Estates, where expansive 3+ acre home sites and top-rated Wentzville schools create the perfect setting for your custom dream home. Visit LombardoHomes.com to learn more about these exciting new communities.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, you're not alone. Most importantly, you don't have to live with it. Paramount Men's Medical Center restores men's sex lives in just 1 visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, even when Viagra and Cialis don't work. Here's Dr. Simovitz, specialist in men's health.
Paramount Men's Medical Center's painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. 98% of patients see instant results right in the office.
Men are now lasting longer than they ever imagined. And the best part, at Paramount Men's Medical Center, your consultation and first treatment are free. Qualified patients even get their testosterone checked free. Call 314-720-8444. 314-720-8444. Take control of your sex life. Call now. 314-720-8444.
Hey, Mom, now that I have an after-school job, I think I want to buy a drum kit.
Okay, Rockstar. Let's look at your account. When kids start making money, Chase has easy-to-use tools and expert bankers to help them learn how to manage it.
And next month, I'll buy the bass drum and the cymbals. Oh, and maybe some noise-canceling headphones for you.
Aw, you've thought of everything. Help kids save, budget, and build financial independence, all with Chase. That's good for kids and good for parents. Visit your local Chase branch and get started.
Account subject to approval. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Hey, it's Brew, and I feel like everything in my life depends on being connected. Whether I'm uploading a video, hopping on a call before my show, or video chatting with my family back in Michigan, I never have to think about my Wi-Fi. And that's why Xfinity stands out. You get the most reliable, fiber-powered Wi-Fi with the best equipment at one price for 5 years guaranteed. No contracts or commitments. Plus, you can get online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Use of fiber or coaxial cable. Learn more at xfinity.com/same-day Wi-Fi. Xfinity, imagine that.
Many of you know that my inspiration for becoming an accident attorney was my brother Tim, who was rendered a quadriplegic at age 18. I didn't know what a personal injury lawyer was or what they did, but I soon did. Tim was treated terribly by the insurance company, and I became enraged. It was a constant delay and deny. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Tim later worked with me for 27 years. Last year, my hero died at age 65. You can see my eulogy for him by visiting mybrothertim.com. He was one hell of a man. Because of Tim, together we built the largest injury firm in the world, and our clients are treated the way I would want my family to be treated. At Morgan & Morgan, nobody is a nobody and everybody is a somebody. If you need our help, visit forthepeople.com on your phone or computer. See you soon, Tim. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Traffic from the michaelsflooringoutlet.com traffic center.
Well, there's definitely some ballgame traffic out there right now. This traffic reports a service of S&L Coins. If you're on eastbound Highway 64, you're backed up bumper to bumper east of Jefferson, all the way over onto 5570, most of the way past 111. And if you're going to stick with 64 past the 70 split, eastbound 64 has the usual jam from 157 most of the way up the hill to 159. 44 downtown, backed up both ways between the bridges. Westbound's worse than eastbound there. Westbound 64 from basically Grand out through Tam is bumper to bumper. It's slow to McCausland, a little slow Spady Ballas. Then we have a jam up about Timberlake. There's a crash just west of Clarkson they're working to clear. And then it's a solid jam again, Lake St. Louis Boulevard out to 70. Westbound 364, Mid-Rivers out through Gudermouth. We have a crash in that area, so that's bumper to bumper solid. Westbound 70, slow at the city limits. 94 through Zumbel past Cave Springs. TR Hughes through K, A to Z out west. North 270, the right lane slow at Dorset. South 270, from 64 down to Doherty Ferry and 44 midway down to Gravois slow. Southbound 141, Helfrich down to 44 and approaching 13th Street to Romaine Creek jam. And southbound 55 has slow traffic south of M midway to Z. There's a jam south of 67 due to a crash closer to 61, and also southbound 61 a crash at 110 causing a backup. I'm Roger Brand in the michaelsflooringoutlet.com traffic center.
S&L Coin. We buy gold and silver coins, silver and gold jewelry. Also buying gold filled and silver plate. Before you sell, call S&L. 314-544-3600. 314-544-3600. S&L Coin.
News, traffic, and the latest on the Redbirds. This is the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
Sponsored by Busey Bank. Building community with Busey Bank. Beyond the game.
All right, guys, welcome into Redbird Rush Hour. Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here until 6 o'clock tonight. And then, of course, Sports Open Line is following that. Obviously, a lot to do in a very short amount of time for the two of us, Matt, although you'll have some time on Sports Open Line to delve deeper into some of these things. Let's talk about today and the series, and then we'll transition into Quinn Matthews making his arrival this weekend and maybe a little trade deadline stuff if we have some time with that. Boy, today just not pretty.
No.
There were some nice things. I mean, Mason Wynn made made a classic play deep in the hole at short. A couple of good at bats here and there, but once again, the problem is you don't score enough runs. And in all honesty, you win this game 2-1 if Lars Nootbaar doesn't forget how many outs there are.
Yeah, and I would push back on you a little bit. They had 10 hits today. You should win games where you have 10 hits. And they then just don't come. They go 1 for 12 with runners in scoring position. So
yeah, part of the problem is 9 singles, though.
Okay, but I'm not going to begrudge a 10-hit day. You should be winning ball games when you get 10 hits. And when you get 10 hits, you shouldn't be going 1 for 12 with runners in scoring position. You're right about the Lars Nootbaar thing. I'm not pushing back on that at all. And he acknowledged it. That is a play that you simply cannot make. That cannot happen. That's especially for your veteran guy on the team. But as much as that one moment is the reason that the Cardinals don't win this game, a number of those other 11 at-bats where they don't come through with runners in scoring position, if you can just get a hit in one of those spots, you win the game as well. So there's a lot of spots to go up and down this game and find areas where you could have won.
Well, when I'm criticizing the offense, I mean, I don't care if you get 10 hits if you only get 2 runs. Part of hitting is hitting with runners in scoring position and doing some damage when you're facing a guy, right? Javier Assad's a guy. He's nothing special. Ryan Rollison, Caleb Thielbar, there were no dudes out there for the Cubs today.
No,
everybody's just a guy, And again, don't get me wrong, relievers can be tough. They're out there for matchups. It's just a continuing theme that for one reason or another, lack of power, lack of hits with runners in scoring position. And I think you're right, Matt. That's the disturbing stat. When you've got that many at bats with runners in scoring position and you only get 1 hit in that scenario, it's pretty bad.
And again, just repeating what you said, you go 1 for 12. And every single guy that you look at today is somebody that you feel like you should have some level of success against.
Yeah. I mean, maybe lefty against Thielbar is tough. Again, same thing for Rollison. Like, those guys aren't terrible. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, like, righties should handle those guys.
You got to run against Thielbar.
Yeah.
Got the home run.
Yeah, right. And a lefty home run. Good job by J.J. Weatherholt there. And then you had a couple other things play into this too, right? I mean, you got caught where your catcher couldn't throw anybody out, and then you get late in the game, and I don't know if this is a big second guess. It's just more of a thing that I've talked about for years, is I'm never a fan of pinch running for your best hitters in a tie game or a one-run game or a two-run game, because then if it continues, you don't have them. And you've got Jimmy Crooks at the plate, who you clearly don't trust, in one of the biggest spots in the game instead of Ivan Herrera. Again, if Velasquez ends up scoring from second base, because he is faster than Ivan Herrera, there's no question about that. If he ends up scoring and they end up getting a hit there, well, then we're not even having that conversation.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, and it does come back to have a bad look when Jimmy Crooks is batting in a key spot in Ivan Herrera's spot. But at the same time, Kevin, I have a hard time being critical of a manager like going for it in the ninth to try to.
I don't like playing for one run as the home team in that scenario. I guess the one run wins the game.
Yeah, because
it's not a major thing. It's just one of those deals there. Like, I used to get on Matheny about this too. Is like when you're taking your best players out of the lineup for a pinch runner or a defensive replacement in a one-run game, you're just leaving yourself open to being naked later on if you don't get it done.
You are. It looks bad if it doesn't work. But I appreciate managers who aggressively go for things in moments. So I try to pump the brakes on my criticism in those moments, because I like aggressive managers trying to win games.
Yeah, and in that scenario, I could argue that's the one spot where a bunt's a good idea. So leave Herrera in there, bunt him over, and all you need is a single or a sac fly, and you win the game. But again, the bigger problem is you just didn't hit it all.
Yeah.
And then the problem after that, and this actually ties into a question we can get into here. Fly Navy 73 brings up Luis Gastelum. He says, in my opinion, Ollie's thrust Gastelum into higher leverage situations much more quickly than his usual slow progression shown to most rookie relievers, low to higher as they progress and prove themselves. Generally speaking, I agree with that.
Yeah,
in fact, we've texted about it, and I think it's done for a purpose, but I still don't understand the difference between him, like what makes him different than the other guys that have come along, like Matt Swanson or Riley O'Brien, who both had to work their way into bigger spots last season. Obviously, Swanson worked his way out of it this
Franklin
year.
the year before. Not Ryan Fernandez the year before.
Ryan Fernandez.
Yeah.
Hey, look, George Soriano had to do it this year.
Yeah.
So, I think that's a great question. Overall, big picture. Today, I don't think you had anybody else.
No,
because Brule's been working damn near every game. Your other three best guys that you can rely on already had pitched. So I mean, you can't go to Swanson there. There's just I don't think that's a fair criticism. But in general, I agree with the observation, and I think it's interesting.
But it goes back to what we said just a minute ago. There was a reason that Ollie was so aggressive trying to win the game in the ninth.
Yeah, fair point.
Yeah.
Fair point. It's more about, to me, it was more about the how to be aggressive than being aggressive. But yeah, and look, if like I said, if somebody gets a hit, I'm not even bringing it up.
Right.
So it's one of those things. I would say a minor criticism, but just overall, for some reason this team has just forgotten how to hit, and maybe it's just because you don't have enough good hitters. I think that's a pretty good point. We'll break that down. We'll talk about the trade deadline. We're going to talk about and celebrate the pending arrival of Quinn Matthews. Really looking forward to that coming up this weekend. Stick around. Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you with more Redbird Rush Hour after the news.
And Doug.
Hot dog! Get your hot dog!
Customize and save with Liberty Mutual.
Hey, what are you doing?
I like your method. Direct. To the point. A little loud, but...
Listen, people don't buy car insurance the same way they do hot dogs.
Not yet, but both are customizable.
Popcorn! Get your popcorn!
Hey, this is a hot dog area.
And customize and save area. Get a quote at libertymutual.com or with your local agent.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Don't let tax refund worries hold you back. File now with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They'll find every credit and deduction to help you get every refund dollar you deserve, or your money back. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
At 5:30, this update is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. It's a cloudy sky downtown at the Arch, right now 85 degrees. St. Louis homicide detectives are investigating a double shooting in South City this afternoon. District 2 officers responding to the 3700 block of Juniata Street near Grand at about 3:50 p.m. Police say one adult was killed. A second man was rushed to the hospital in critical condition. No suspect information or motive has been released yet. A familiar and somewhat controversial face is returning to St. Louis to head up the city's health department. KMOX health editor Fred Bottomer.
Dr. Faisal Khan served as St. Louis County's health director from 2021 to 2022 in the midst of the COVID pandemic and got into it with angry residents during a county council meeting regarding health orders and masking policies. Dr. Khan later moved on to head up the Seattle-King County Health Department in the state of Washington. In a news release announcing Dr. Khan's return to head up the city's health department, Mayor Kara Spencer called Dr. Khan a leader with deep regional knowledge and national executive experience that will be key in addressing long-standing public health challenges in St. Louis. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
Rural versus urban. How do voters across Missouri feel about the ballot question to eliminate the income tax by raising sales taxes? SLU and YouGov ran a statewide poll to gauge their interest. Political science professor Chris Duncan says there is not any pattern across the board.
There are some differences between the urban and the rural folks over these things, but for the most part, right, it's pretty mixed still.
Duncan says their poll found voters were mostly against specific sales tax increases, though a majority of people responding said new revenue should come from higher sales taxes. A whole neighborhood in Canton, Ohio was rocked by a home explosion early this morning. At least 2 people hurt. Several properties sustained damage. ABC's Morgan Norwood says authorities believe it was a natural gas explosion.
The blast sending tremors throughout the neighborhood.
It blew everything off my walls. My cabinets are open. My TVs are blown off the walls.
Authorities say the force of it moving 2 other nearby homes off their foundations, launching debris and even downing power lines.
There's even debris in the trees, glass and debris in the road, unsafe structures, so we caution the public to stay away from the area.
Investigators are looking into what triggered that gas explosion.
The UFL is pulling out of Birmingham and Houston as part of a major league shakeup. League officials are moving both franchises. They blame Birmingham's massive 47,000-seat stadium for swallowing up crowds and killing the game day atmosphere. Co-owner Mike Rapole says the league plans to add 2 replacement markets for 2027 and expand to 10 teams by 2028. Oklahoma City is locked in already. Meantime, St. Louis remains the league's flagship market and primary attendance driver. Looking for something to do on your next flight? If you're on Delta Airlines, you'll be able to make sports prediction picks.
Don't call it gambling because that's illegal on airplanes, but Delta is teaming up with DraftKings to let passengers make picks, and while you can't win cash, you can win Delta gift cards. Delta says there's no betting, buy-in, miles, or financial risk involved. Delta is calling it Sky Picks on domestic routes. Those who are 21 and older can sign into a DraftKings account and make their sports picks. It won't be on the screens on board. It'll be on individual phones and computers. And for now, it's only Major League Baseball. Later in the year, it will be the NFL as well. Last year, when Delta announced the plan to work with DraftKings on this, at least one lawmaker urged Delta and DraftKings to pause implementing it. Alex Stone, ABC News.
From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, for tonight, partly cloudy, low 69 degrees. For tomorrow, a mix of clouds and sun. We'll have some scattered showers and thunderstorms, especially in the afternoon. And Dave Murray says some of those could be strong, so stay tuned. High temperature tomorrow, 85. Scattered showers tomorrow night, low 70. Right now, downtown at the Arch, it's a cloudy sky, 85 degrees. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Each week, we put a spotlight on an organization making the world better through sports. It's building community with Busey Bank beyond the game. Jason Frazier is the president and CEO of Mind's Eye, an organization that helps the visually impaired. Sports is a big part of what they do, fielding a Beep baseball team, the Gateway Archers.
A couple things that are different when you think about baseball and Beep baseball. Unlike most forms of baseball, the pitcher is actually on the batting team. He is trying to actually make contact. The pitcher is sighted, and he's pitching to 6 blind or low vision players. Every player, no matter what their vision level, is wearing a blindfold. So the goal of the pitcher is to help that player make contact. So they're saying set, ready, pitch. The ball beeps is why it's called beat ball, but the batters was listening more for the pitcher's cadence and the timing. The beep comes in handy when it's going to the fielding portion for the 6 blind visually impaired fielders out there trying to track that ball if it's put into play by that batter. They're trying to track it before that batter makes it to a buzzing base if he puts it in play.
The Beep Baseball World Series is coming up next week, and the Archers have high expectations.
The Gateway Archers are rocking and rolling this year. They just came off another pretty good tournament in Champaign, just won the Tulsa Regional. Right now this year they are 16-2. Heading into the World Series, will probably be ranked in the top 3.
Mind's Eye also offers other adaptive athletics like blind soccer and goalball. Through their audio description, they also help individuals fully experience going to events like Cardinals games.
Cardinals are one of, I think they're the only baseball team in MLB that has audio description at its games, at select games. So what we do for that is just imagine, of course, you're talking about the play-by-play, if someone's in the home run, but a lot of times there's a delay if you're listening to it on the radio side, or, they're talking about commercials going on in the middle portion. So what we do is we describe the whole experience. So if Redbird is out there and there's a Cubs fan sitting there and Redbird decides to pie that Cubs fan in the face, we describe that. If the wave is going on, we describe that.
You can learn more about Mind's Eye at their website, mindseyeradio.org. Building community with Busey Bank, beyond the game.
Hi, I'm Mark Cantor. The people around here are hardworking people, just like you. And when someone in your family gets hurt in a car wreck, everything can change very fast. That's why having a local lawyer matters. At Cantor Injury Law, we know these towns, these roads, and the people who drive them every day. When you call us, you're calling a local team with boots on the ground, ready to fight for you. You can count on Cantor.
CantorInjuryLaw.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
In the military, the mission was clear. You knew what to do. Now, the mission has changed. Stepping into civilian life isn't about finding a job. It's finding your purpose.
I wanted a career that would leverage the skills and discipline I gained in the military. IT just felt right.
My Computer Career offers class schedules that fit into your life and skills in high demand. Put your VA benefits to work. Visit mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to jumpstart your IT career today. An elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Drip Drop is a doctor-developed, proven fast hydration that helps your body and mind work better. Trusted by firefighters, medical professionals, and over 90% of top college and pro sports teams, Drip Drop is engineered to hydrate faster and more effectively than water alone, with 3 times the electrolytes of leading sports drinks. Stock up now at dripdrop.com and use promo code RADIO20 for 20% off your first order. That's dripdrop.com, promo code RADIO20 for 20% off your first order. Head to dripdrop.com now and use promo code RADIO20.
Can you believe politicians nearly doubled state spending since 2019? Yeah, that's twice the rate of inflation.
What do we get for all that extra spending? Nothing.
Yeah, and get this, over 200 loopholes are buried in our tax code, written by lobbyists for wealthy corporations.
Our tax code is rigged against us.
We get taxed on our paycheck, our home, everything we buy.
I guess somebody's got to pay for all that spending.
That's why we need Amendment 5. It puts politicians on a leash.
Forces them to cut taxes and control spending, whether they like it or not.
Amendment 5 closes the loopholes, eliminates income taxes, cuts property taxes, and gives $3,000 a year to average working families.
We decide, not the politicians.
Amendment 5 is the biggest tax cut in Missouri history.
I'm voting yes on Amendment 5. Paid for by Missouri Promise PAC. Mark Ellinger, Treasurer.
Celebrate the month of July with Zero Res and get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $129. Get your air ducts cleaned for $599 per unit. Book online at ZeroResSTL.com and take advantage of the savings. That's ZeroResSTL.com.
The radical left let crime and drugs pour into our nation, and they let biological men into girls' sports. But here in Missouri, if there's a problem, we fix it. That's why Ann Wagner's fixing the mess the radical left made and delivering for us. Wagner voted to ban biological men from competing in girls' sports, and she voted to fund the police and provide more resources for Border Patrol agents, keeping our families, communities, and children safe. And Ann Wagner didn't stop there. In Congress, Wagner passed the largest working-class tax cut in American history, kept big government out of our business, protected our way of life, and ensured our communities remain safe. That's why Ann Wagner's endorsed by the Missouri Farm Bureau and Missouri Fraternal Order of Police. Vote Ann Wagner for Congress on August 4th.
I'm Ann Wagner, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Ann Wagner for Congress.
New Game Plus with Oxy makes your laundry smell incredible and fights stubborn smells, like the ones your dog Biscuit brought into your freshly made bed last night. But you wash that all away with Game, and now you're drifting asleep to the scent and sound of waves. Ah, no, that's the dog licking your ear.
Biscuit.
It just might be our greatest scent ever, now with odor-fighting power. New Game Plus with Oxy.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM KMOX. Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, still busy out on the highways. This traffic reports the service of Steve Butts and the entire Crawford Butts family. If you're going home on westbound Highway 70, a little slow out of the city limits, Jennings Station area, 94 out through to about Cave Springs, TR Hughes through K. Then you're jammed at Lake St. Louis Boulevard. We have a crash with lane blockage right at Highway A currently. Westbound 64, approaching Kings Highway out to Clayton Skinkers, jammed at slow. Lindbergh to 270, backed up 141 through Clarkson. They were trying to clear a crash just west of there. And then it's congested again just west of Lake St. Louis Boulevard out to 70. Southbound 270, Clayton Road to about Doherty Ferry. A couple of slow spots. That doesn't look that bad. If you're on southbound 141, still have a jam south of Gravois Bluffs down to 13th Street, headed into Illinois. Eastbound 64 from the Poplar onto 5570 through 111 is heavy, and 64 itself is backed up 157 to 159. Eastbound 70 east of the Musial Veterans over to 64 is slow, and 44 still has heavy traffic both ways between the bridges. As America celebrates its 250th anniversary, Steve Butts and everyone at Crawford Butts Insurance wish everyone a safe and joyful summer. Proudly serving the community for generations. Happy 250th, America. Next update at 5:50 from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
It is 5:42 in Mid-America. The time check being brought to you by Paramount Men's Medical Center.
Now, back to the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
Sponsored by Busey Bank. Building community with Busey Bank. Beyond the game.
It's the Redbird Rush Hour here on KMOX on a Thursday, wrapping up the Cubs-Cardinals series that just came to an end. Cubs win today 4-2, take 3 out of 4 in the series. And, Matt, that brings us to kind of what's coming up next. The deadline's on Monday. I think we anticipate at least a couple of guys heading out the door. It sure seemed like Dustin May got his going-away party yesterday. I don't think that was accidental. I think everybody seemed to know. He seemed to know. And, look, we all kind of understand how this is going to go. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. But on the plus side of that, you've got a really quality arm going out the door. But the trade-off is we get to see Quinn Matthews come up to the major leagues.
Yeah, and we'll see, there's a bunch of things. There's other dominoes that have to fall. We have Matthew Liberatore was supposed to start on Saturday. He's not going to start on Saturday. We don't know what that means for him. There's roster moves that need to be made. You actually have to trade Dustin May, which means you have to get an offer that you like for Dustin May. So there's a bunch of stuff that has to happen. But Ali did announce after the game today that indeed it would be Quinn Matthews starting on Saturday.
It's great to see. Look, it's not that I'm not saying he's going to come in or we're going to expect him to come in and save the season or keep you on track or take up what Dustin May did. And I mean, he could. He's got great stuff and he gets a lot of swing and miss. But the thing to keep an eye on is his command. Yeah. He's had major command problems the last couple of years. But the last, what would you say, Matt? Maybe 12 or 15 starts, it's gotten a lot better. But especially the last 10 or 12, it's gotten a lot better. And at least in the minor leagues, he doesn't give up any hits.
No.
He only allowed 53 hits in 92 innings at AAA this year. Now, the bad side were those walks. I mean, 52 walks is a lot. But in the end, it's still a 1.14 whip, which is high end. Like, that's really good. And he strikes people out. What'll be fascinating to see is, does the strikeout thing stay at that same level against more experienced hitters that don't chase? Because he gets a lot of chase because he's got really nasty off-speed stuff, and he's got a good fastball. It's not elite, but it's a good fastball. Does that continue, and can he be in the zone enough to get major league hitters to respect every pitch that he's going to throw up there? It's just going to be an interesting thing, but he certainly has the ability to come up here and do a good job.
Yeah, look, there are numbers that he put up at AAA that he's not going to be able to put up in the big leagues. There's going to be pitches that he was getting swing and miss on at AAA that just he's not going to get. So that's part of the process. And this is one of the areas where Ollie talks so often, and this goes back to Gastelum, because they really feel like at the big league level is the place for him to kind of experience some of these things. There's a limit on that, but there is value in a guy who's had success at AAA to getting here and seeing what it looks like. Now, sometimes the next value is going back to AAA and kind of fixing some of the things that you learned at the big league level. I'm not saying that's going to happen with Quinn Matthews.
We hope not, but it could.
But there is value, even if it doesn't look good at the beginning. Every single time you move up a level. It was great for Durangelo Saincha to get to AAA and immediately run into some adversity, because AAA hitters are more advanced than AA hitters, and you're facing off against a bunch of dudes who've got big league time. So it's just part of development.
Yep. And Matthews went through that same thing.
Yeah.
His first couple of cracks, last year and then early this year at AAA weren't good. And then he figured it out. He made the adjustments. He got better. He started throwing more strikes, all that. So it'll be fun to see what he looks like starting this week. And ideally, doesn't mean it's going to happen, but ideally he's here the rest of the year. You get him 2 months worth of starts, and you have an idea of whether or not you can count on him in your rotation next year. You may not know for sure, but at least you get yourself a better idea. Kind of like what McGreevy showed last year. McGreevy showed you last year that you could count on him in your rotation this year. And ideally, you'll get something like that from him. All right, we got some messages coming in, Matt, I think are really interesting. And I thought Nick hit on a point that actually Ollie made on Gas House Gang this week. Slightly different wording than what we're going to use, but he kind of made this point. So Nick on the stream said, I don't understand how people don't understand that this team just doesn't have enough talent. Marmol's doing what he can with what he has. They aren't rich with talent on the major league teams. Pretty simple. I agree. I think it's pretty clear. You look at their lineup once you get past the top four, even if you say top five, because Newt hasn't been good lately, but Newt's still a proven bat. He may not be an elite bat, but he's still something you kind of know what you're getting typically. But you got 4 spots in the order that don't do very much, and lately it's been 5. And actually, lately it's been more like 7 because JJ and Jordan Walker both struggled here for the last 3 or 4 weeks too.
And when you basically have 4 guys who have driven the bus offensively, if one of those guys goes down, you really lose the opportunity to score runs.
Yeah.
And then if 2 of the guys go down, you almost have no shot to be a consistent run scoring team.
Yeah.
And I mean, I like the fact that those guys have been grouped together at the top of the order, but it just seems like you get through those guys, and then all of a sudden it's days
easier.
like today where it's 1 for 12 with runners in scoring position. And that's, look, I had an impassioned conversation last night on the post-game show because people were really, really upset about the idea of the Cardinals trading Dustin May and not doing everything they can to make it to the playoffs this year. And I always get the people, I'll say the Cardinals are not going to win the World Series in 2026. And somebody will say, well, you don't know that. You don't know
You ain't doing it with this lineup, man.
Yeah, I do know that.
You know what today proved, Matt? You know what today proved? You can't single your way to wins.
You can't. So
9 singles and 1 solo home run is not going to win you a game in Major League Baseball.
It is not, and that's who this team is. So go do what you need to do to get yourself closer to winning a World Series. And it may not be till 2028 or 2029 that you probably 2028 is when you're going to look at this roster and say, this is a highly competitive roster. I don't even think it's going to be that way next year.
A deeper one with more talent.
Yeah. So try to get there as quickly as you can, and then try to do the things to make sure that once you're there, you're able to stay there.
Totally agree. All right, we got one more segment to go. Sports Open Line coming up after the news. We'll finish up Redbird Rush Hour next on KMOX.
There are many reasons to hire Morgan & Morgan for your injury case. Here's reason 17. In today's new world, many law firms have had money injected into their firms by Wall Street, private equity, and other lenders. This money usually comes in at very, very high interest rates. It's one of the reasons you see so many lawyers advertising. I'm John Morgan. This money is expensive and the interest compounds quickly. These law firms can have a huge need for cash just to pay that debt. Why does it matter to you? My fear is your case is settled early and for far less than it's worth, just to service the loan that has mafia-like rates. Our financial strength is your advantage. That plus our reputation makes our firm your firm. Visit forthepeople.com to see our results and verdicts. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
I'm Bill Eigel. I'm a no on data centers. Last year, when a new hyperscale data center was up for a vote in St. Charles City, I'm the only candidate for county executive who stood with you in opposition. Meanwhile, Steve Ellman was writing op-eds in support of data centers. In fact, he spent $400,000 of your taxpayer money to identify 6 locations just for data centers in St. Charles County. I'm Bill Eigel, and if you don't want data centers in our county, then I'm asking for your vote on August 4th.
Paid for by Eigel from Missouri. Lisa Borchers, Treasurer.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance. And now we're customizing this rush hour ad to keep you calm, which could help your driving. And science says therapy is great for a healthy mindset. So enjoy this 14-second session on us. I think you've done everything right and absolutely nothing wrong. In fact, anything that hasn't gone your way could probably be blamed on your father not being emotionally available because his father wasn't emotionally available, and so on. And now that you're calm and healing, you're probably driving better too.
Liberty, 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 liberty. Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, if you're driving home on westbound Highway 70, you've still got some heavy traffic right around 94 through Zembel toward Cave Springs. There's an incident eastbound that's jammed at Cave Springs. Westbound's a little slow at K, and then it backs up from Bryan Road. We have this crashed right at Highway 8 with lane blockage, so that's getting a little worse at the west end there. Westbound 64 Kings Highway out to Clayton Skinkers heavy. West of Lindbergh to 270. They cleared that crash west of Clarkson. There's just slow stuff through the Chesterfield parkways there, and then just kind of slow at Prospect, so a lot better there. South 270 is clear. Southbound 55 just a little busy right around McNutt headed into Illinois. Eastbound 5570 from 64 through 111, a couple of slow pockets. 44 still busy between the bridges, and eastbound 64 still a jam from 157 most of the way to 159. Next update at 5:59 from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Now, back to the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
Sponsored by Busey Bank. Building community with Busey Bank. Beyond the game.
All right, Redbird Rush Hour here. Just a few more minutes. Matt Pauley has Sports Open Line. Let me guess, Matt, more baseball coming up on Sports Open Line.
Yeah, a fair amount of baseball. Our 7 o'clock hour, we're actually going to go. It's going to be all baseball in the 6 o'clock hour.
Okay.
Bernie's going to be on with us. And then we've got a couple other things to get to in the 7 o'clock hour, a little non-baseball-y.
So what do you expect? I know we'll talk. We can. The three of us will have some time tomorrow, right?
No.
Or do we not have time?
No, we
tomorrow?
do not.
It's an early game, right?
Yeah, I don't think we have any Redbird Rush Hour tomorrow.
So let's just take these last 2.5 minutes and not necessarily predict who's going or where, but pick a number. Over under 2.5 players are traded away from the Cardinals.
That's a perfect.
Over under 2.5.
I'll go over. I'll say because I think there's a higher percentage chance that it's 3 than 2. I think it's likely one of those two numbers. Then so do you, because that's why you chose 2.5. So
yes.
I'll take the over with the idea that I feel like it's likely 3, knowing it very well could be 2.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be. I think 3 is the number. I'm not going to say that they wouldn't go bigger. I don't expect. This is not going to be a fire sale.
Right.
This isn't going to be blow out half the roster. If somebody that's who's on a deal that's not expiring gets traded. We've brought up Palante. There have been reports that people are asking about Herrera, because of course they are, because everybody in baseball needs right-handed bats. So of course they're going to ask about those guys. It doesn't mean the team has any interest in trading them. I don't think they're necessarily going to go down the path of trading the guys with control unless they are just blown away, unless somebody makes the Godfather offer. But I do think they have great incentive to move Ryan Stanek. You have great incentive, obviously, to move Dustin May. And I think May gets you a pretty good package, or at least a pretty good player. I wouldn't say package, probably one pretty good player.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that. Yeah, I do. They're going to have to clear out some space for some of this starting pitching that's on the way at some point in time.
Yeah.
So if they got a good offer on Palante, I would not be opposed to them making that move right now, because Palante being a pitch, and this is not me like taking a shot at him. He's having a really, really good year.
Having a heck of a year, yeah.
Love what he's been doing. I've really enjoyed watching him pitch, which is not something that I thought I would be saying about Palante this year.
Lineup.
Yeah, he did. He absolutely did. But he is still that pitch to contact guy that if you have just an unlucky day, it's going to go poorly for you. So that would be the profile of controllable pitcher that I'd be more willing to see them walk away from, if that makes sense.
Agreed. And given, he's getting to that time where he's starting to make more money in arbitration. He's getting closer to free agency. So that, again, if somebody comes at them with a strong offer, I wouldn't be surprised if they did it. They've got guys right now that can step into those spots. And then I'd say that I think there's a chance you could get to 4 or 5 moved because it kind of depends. Like, do somebody want Pajes, and are you willing to move him? That kind of thing too. So we'll see, man. I mean, this is our last show before Monday, so by the next time we do a show on Redbird Rush Hour, there's going to be stuff to talk about on the trade front, and we're looking forward to that. And I know you've got a whole bunch of baseball covered, including Bernie coming up in the top of the hour. So have a fun show.
All right.
Looking forward to listening to it, checking it out, and we'll talk to you, I guess, on Monday.
Sounds good.
All right, Matt Pauley's got Sports Open Line coming up for you next right here on KMOX.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Tech, sponsored by Ethos.
Global smartphone demand was down in the second quarter, with industry researcher Omdia reporting a 4% sales decline, with a shortage of memory chips weighing on the supply chain, as well as higher component costs for manufacturers. Despite the overall trend, Apple and Samsung each saw stronger sales, with Samsung taking 22% of the market and Apple 20%, a record high for the iPhone maker. I'm Jason Brooks.
If you own a business, you've heard it all. From fast funding to easy approvals, everyone says the same thing. LendSeek is different. We show you what you actually qualify for. LendSeek's AI-enabled platform matches you with funding options with no guesswork. Up to $5 million in as fast as 24 hours. If you've been in business over a year, doing at least $50,000 per month, apply for free with zero out-of-pocket costs and access to over 100 lenders. Start ready, stay ready. Lendseek.com. LENDSEEK.com.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
This is the Let's Revitalize Our Neighborhoods commitment. This is the Roll Up Our Sleeves and Pitch In commitment. This is Busey, where our commitment to strengthen our communities is a top priority. Through energetic, engaged volunteers, through monetary support, community leadership, and advocacy. Because Busey is more than a bank that does well, we're a bank that does good. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth, since 1868. Member FDIC.
The soundtrack of classic rock. August 6th, Leonard Skinner and Foreigner joining forces for one epic night of legendary hits and unforgettable memories. It's the Double Trouble Double Vision Tour. From Sweet Home Alabama to Cold as Ice. Don't miss your chance to experience these two Rock and Roll Hall of Fame acts in one incredible show. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, emergency crews are on the scene working this crash on southbound 141 before you get to 13th Street. Traffic's jamming just south of Gravois Bluffs on southbound 141 right now. The other crash we have, there's one eastbound 70 just past Cave Springs. It's jammed eastbound back close to 370. Westbound's just a little slow around Zembel. Not as bad at that Cave Springs area, actually, westbound. And then westbound 70, you've got that crash at Highway A with lane blockage. It's a solid jam now at Bryan Road on westbound 70 out to that one. So trouble's both ways on 70. Westbound 64, the Science Center headed out through McCausland's heavy, Spady to Ballas a little slow, both through the delays through the Chesterfield Parkways and then approaching Prospect. The ramp looks like we have an incident from 64 onto North 270. That's backed up. And eastbound 64 on the Illinois side is still bumper to bumper from 157 most of the way up the hill to 159. I'm Roger Brand in the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
ABC News, I'm Wayne Cabot. A new alert about cyber attacks at more than 30 water plants. Minnesota and federal authorities are investigating possible Iranian hackers, although the CIA is not commenting except to say it's aware of these attacks this week, Sunday and Monday. Cyber experts are currently observing a significant increase in cyber threat actors targeting programmable logic controllers in the water and wastewater systems. No action today on President Trump's nomination of Todd Blanche to be U.S. Attorney General. Senator Kirsten Gillibrand thinks she knows why two Republican colleagues are blocking the nomination.
Todd Blanche isn't qualified to be the Attorney General, and even Republicans have great pause with putting him forward. And so I hope that President Trump removes him as a nomination for that position.
After the worst day on Wall Street in a year, the Dow shot up today, up 614 at the close, buoyed by Microsoft's best earnings in 18 years. This is ABC News. The Defense Department's casualty database shows 11 more U.S. troops wounded in the war with Iran since Tuesday, bringing the total number of wounded to 653. 18 have been killed in action. New claims today by Ukraine President Zelensky that the Russians used a North Korean missile for the first time in their latest strikes, and
a Russian missile crashed inside Poland today, violating NATO airspace, raising the risk of escalation and testing the alliance's collective defense posture. The Kremlin, it has not yet commented on the incident, but Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk, he says there's no reason to believe Poland was actually a target.
Britt Clennett at the ABC Foreign Desk in London. From Australia, better late than never, a book was returned last week to the Kiama Public Library 150 years late. Antiquities of Athens, published in 1858, was returned by a man who found it while doing home renovations. I'm Wayne Cabot, ABC News.
And at 6:02, it's a cloudy sky downtown at the Arch. Right now, 84 degrees. One man is dead. Another is fighting for his life after an afternoon shooting in South St. Louis. Police called to the 3700 block of Juniata Street, just west of Grand, about 4 p.m. Officers found two men shot at the scene. One victim died from his injuries, while the second remains in critical condition. District 2 Commander Captain Anthony Aubuchon with Fox 2.
Oh, it's actually pretty contained. It's happened all in right at the doorway of the house, or just inside the front door. So everything's contained there. We have all the weapons involved. So it's just a matter of interviewing people and determining what happened.
Homicide detectives have taken over the investigation. St. Louis City now has a new health department director, and as KMOX health editor Fred Bottomer tells us, it is a former director of the St. Louis County Health Department.
Dr. Faisal Khan served as St. Louis County's health director in the midst of the COVID pandemic from 2021 to 2022. He may best be remembered for an angry outburst after a county council meeting, brought on by what he called racist harassment and shoulder bumping by vocal anti-masking residents when he left the council chambers. Dr. Khan later moved on to head up the Seattle King County Health Department in the state of Washington. In a news release announcing his return, only this time to head up St. Louis City's health department, Dr. Khan says he has spent his career studying and addressing the root causes of health outcomes and looks forward to making a real difference in the health and quality of life for St. Louis City residents. Mayor Spencer called Dr. Khan a leader with deep regional knowledge and national executive experience that will be key, she says, to addressing long-standing public health challenges in St. Louis. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
As KMOX reported last week, a federal mediator has been called in to help resolve the contract dispute between Roxana, Illinois teachers and the district. Today, teachers holding an informational picket in front of the administration building on the same day that parents are registering their children for school.
We've been at the table since January. We went over ground rules in January, and then really starting in March is when we really started coming to the table on a regular basis.
When does your contract expire with the district?
Our contract has already expired.
That's Roxana Education Association President Kim Jones with KMOX's Megan Lynch. In a statement sent to KMOX News, the Roxana School District says it respects the right of employees to express their views and advocate for their interests throughout the collective bargaining process. Amendment 5 would rescind the income tax by offsetting it with higher sales taxes. How popular are the potential new sales taxes?
A poll by YouGov and SLU asked about Amendment 5 and traditionally sales tax exempt services that could find themselves the target of new increases. Chris Duncan, a political science professor at St. Louis University, says while a majority of those polled believe Missouri should rely on the sales tax to raise more revenue, where those sales taxes come from was unpopular.
Accounting services, services in automobile places, real estate, right? You start to see a real fall off, and support for those gets way, way down into the 30% range.
Duncan says if Amendment 5 were to pass, deciding where the new sales tax revenue comes from will be its own individual battles. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Former St. Louis City Mayor Vincent Shamel has been named by Governor Kehoe to the State Board of Education. Shamel previously served as a board member of the St. Louis Public Schools and is currently on the St. Louis Language Charter School. Shamel served 4 terms as city mayor from 81 till 93. It is 6:05. Let's get to traffic first. Here's Roger Brand at the Traffic Center.
Well, Michael, we got troubles both ways on Highway 70. We have a crash eastbound 70 to Siesta Cave Springs. Only the right lane's open with injuries. Traffic's jammed on eastbound 70 at 370 and westbound slow from Zumbal out past it. And then you got stop-and-go traffic backed up from east of Bryan Road all the way out to Highway A. There's an injury crash there as well, so a solid jam. Westbound 64, still a little busy. Hampton out through McCausland, not that bad. It's also slow west of Lake St. Louis out to Prospect. There's an incident at the end of the ramp from 64 onto North 270, so a little backup there. Southbound 141, north of 13th Street, they're still working an injury crash. You sort of have to weave through the crash scene. Traffic delays south of Gravois Bluffs. And on the Illinois side, eastbound 5570, a brief backup through 111, and eastbound 64 is on the brakes still most of the way up the hill from 157 to 159. I'm Roger Brand in the Michaels Flooring Outlet.com Traffic Center.
We have another wonderful evening of weather on the way with great temperatures and comfortable humidity. Let's call it partly cloudy this evening and overnight 69 for the low. On Friday, bit of a changeable sky, a mix of clouds and sunshine with scattered showers and thunderstorms, mainly during the afternoon, and a couple of them could be on the strong side. 85 for the high. Friday night, scattered showers and thunderstorms. A couple could be strong, 70. Saturday, still a changeable sky. Mixed clouds and sunshine with scattered showers and thunderstorms, 78. That's it for the high on Saturday. Saturday night, fading scattered showers and thunderstorms. A lot of clouds around, 67. And Sunday, partly sunny. Nothing more than a spot thunderstorm, 83 for the high on Sunday. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Dave Murray on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
And right now, downtown at the Arch, it's a cloudy sky, 84 degrees. The feels like is 84. Sports Open Line starts now. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Come on, let's get going now.
From KMOX Sports.
We're primed and ready. All day, baby. Man, let's go.
This is the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. On 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Here we go on a Thursday night. Welcome in. It's a Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX. Great to be with you. My name's Matt Pauley, taking you through the 8 o'clock, till 8 o'clock, through the 7 o'clock hour, up until 8 o'clock tonight here on KMOX after the Cardinals lose today in 10 innings to the Cubs and lose 3 out of 4 and drop back below 500. If you want to join us, you can do so by calling or texting 314-436-7900. That's 314-436-7900. You can also tweet at me at Matt Pauley on air, MattPauley on air. And for those of you who are watching on the video stream on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, you can comment in the chat on any of those different social media platforms. And those come into our studio, and we'll take a look at some of those as we do go along. Here's the plan for the program tonight. Here in about 10 minutes or so, we're going to have our weekly conversation with our good friend Bernie Miklas, KMOX sports contributor. You hear him all over the place. Also part of the team at STL Sports Central, where all of his written and video content lives. And then later on in the show at 7:05, we are going to talk with Jaleel Anibaba. He is an MLS analyst for Apple TV. We'll talk some City SC soccer with him. We are also going to be joined coming up later on in the program by Andrew Gavin. He is the athletics director over at SIUE, and we'll just talk college athletics with him. Good to be able to talk with somebody about the current state of college athletics. We also have our building community with Busey Bank Beyond the Game weekly interview tonight as well, around 7:30, 7:35. We're going to be joined by Jason Frazier, who is the president and CEO of Mind's Eye. One of the really cool things for me getting to do these community interviews is I learn about all these amazing organizations and the things that they do, and they all have a sports tie-in somehow. So Mind's Eye, like the main thing that they do is they provide audio descriptions and audio services for people who are visually impaired. So if you want to read the newspaper, read a magazine or something like that, there is an audio component that goes along with it. But they do have a sports side of it with the adaptive athletics. They have beep baseball and some other sports, which is really cool. And they also have an audio description service for a handful of Cardinals games where you go to the game. And yeah, it's great to have the radio broadcast to be able to listen. I know a lot of people who are visually impaired really love being able to listen to sports on the radio. But what about fully getting the experience of a Cardinals game? Well, what they do at Mind's Eye is they'll come and they'll be audio describing everything that's going on. So if the wave is starting, they'll tell you where the wave is. If Redbird is doing something funny, they'll tell you what Redbird's doing. So it's a really cool organization. So we'll put a spotlight on that coming up later on in this show. Again, I always enjoy being able to talk about that, and we appreciate Busey Bank for being able to help us do all those conversations on a weekly basis. So what do we make of the Cardinals right now? They're back below 500. They've got a bunch of teams in front of them in the wild card race, and they are days away from the trading deadline. And now the narratives that are starting to come out of the Cardinals clubhouse have started to shift towards almost this expectation of trades happening. We see Dustin May yesterday go out and throw 5 innings. He's lifted after 5 strong innings. Clearly, they don't want him to overexert himself or get hurt or anything like that. Go do your job and get out of there to preserve as much value as possible. And then he gets all kinds of hugs after he came out of the game yesterday. A lot of people thought he had been traded. He hadn't been. It was just a overwhelming feeling of, okay, that's it. That is it for Dustin May. That he's not going to appear again for the Cardinals. And there's great appreciation for what he has done in a short amount of time with this team. And that's where the reaction occurred. But Quinn Matthews has already been announced as the starter for Saturday. Once they trade Dustin May, they're able to bring Hunter Dobbins back. The rule about how long you have to stay down in the minor leagues, there's 2 exceptions to that. You can bring somebody back early due to injury, and you can also bring somebody back early if there's been a trade. So the moment they trade Dustin May, they're basically able to use that, I'll call it a roster exemption for lack of a better term. They'll be able to use that exemption to be able to bring Dobbins right back. And it would be my belief that within the next few days, we are going to see a starting rotation that does include both Quinn Matthews and Hunter Dobbins. Now they've got some other stuff that they would have to work through to make that happen. Matthew Liberatore scheduled to go on Saturday before the announcement today that Matthews was going to go on Saturday. We don't know the next domino to fall. They may not know the next domino to fall. If there is a scenario where Dustin May is the only starting pitcher that they trade, well, you might be in a spot then where Matthew Liberatore is headed to the bullpen for a little while, or maybe for the rest of the season. If there is a scenario where Dustin May is traded, but also an Andre Palante ends up getting traded, which I don't think is overly likely to happen, but I also think it's not impossible. If you end up trading 2 starters, then you're in a spot where you're likely keeping Liberatore in the rotation. So there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of pieces that you're looking at right now, and I don't think they completely know everything that's going to happen, and they won't know until they do get through the trade deadline. We're starting to see more and more rumors. In fact, that's what we're going to talk about with Bernie Miklasz coming up in just a few minutes. He had a really good, his most recent column over at STL Sports Central. He kind of makes fun of the industry at whole right now with all the rumors, but there are a lot of them, and some of them are true. Some of them are not true. You always have to look at where the source is. One of the problems in our aggregation era of media is that somebody will throw out an idea for a trade, and then that will get aggregated, and it will turn into, it's been reported that this is being considered. and that wasn't actually the case. It was just some type of analyst or some sort of insider throwing out an idea, and then somebody else will take that as being a report. And there's a lot of that out there. So part of being a sports fan this time of the year, being a baseball fan this time of the year, is navigating through all the muck that is the rumors on the type of trades that could be going down. Bernie Miklasz, he is going to join us in just a moment, our weekly Sports Oprah Line conversation with him. That's after this. Don't go anywhere. You are locked into a Gray Bar Sports Open Line here on KMOX.
When Donald Trump needs conservative votes to help pass his agenda for Missouri, Representative Tricia Burns never answers the call. Tricia Burns has missed 370 votes. Burns is bucking President Trump's priorities. Burns did not vote to stop DEI initiatives, prevent China from owning Missouri land, defund Planned Parenthood, and Burns did not vote to ban boys from girls' sports. Tricia Burns not showing up for Missouri and President Trump. Instead, Tricia Burns spends her time pulling pranks on the suicide prevention hotline. Yes, you heard that right. Tricia Burns lied to the police and staged a fake suicide emergency. She sent a series of messages to the hotline and said she, quote, had a gun to her head, end quote. When she got caught, she said there'd be no consequences because she's a politician. By August 4th, vote to show Tricia Burns that there are consequences to being bad at your job.
Let's Go Brandon PAC paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. Chris Foss, Treasurer.
Let me tell you something about insurance. When you sign your insurance policy, for some brokers, that's the finish line. Handshake, commission, done. Then you may not hear from them again until it's time for renewal. But your business runs all year, so do the gaps and the risk. So go to supersure.com. If your company has more than 25 employees, whether you're the owner, CFO, or HR manager, it can be too complex to just go buy a policy online. Supersure is the super agency built for you, licensed in every state for your business insurance and employee benefits, all with year-round support for you and your team. At supersure.com, you can access tools like fine print facts. It'll translate your current policy into plain English so you see what's covered and what's not. Plus a business value calculator so you can estimate what your business is worth so you know what actually needs protecting. Go to supersure.com. One super agency, one powerful platform, all your policies in one place. Supersure.com. That's supersure.com. Paid for by Supersure Insurance Agency, LLC, a licensed insurance agency.
You know, here in St. Louis, word of mouth still matters, and I'm pretty careful about who I recommend, especially when it comes to something as personal as estate planning. I'm Tom Ackerman. My family has been working with the Lederman Law Firm for over 20 years now, and the reason is simple. They don't just create documents and send you on your way. They help make sure your plan works. Because let's be honest, life changes. Family needs and circumstances change. Laws change. But most estate plans don't change over time as needs, circumstances, and laws change. They're outdated, sitting in a drawer. People assume they're fine, and their plan will work when they need it to work. At the Lederman Law Firm, it's not a one-time transaction. It's an ongoing process. They build a plan to protect your family and your assets, and then for a fixed annual fee, they help keep it up to date as both your life and assets change. Check out the Lederman Law Firm at LedermanLaw.com or give them a call at 314-514-9100. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
When you want a brand new kitchen, there's nothing to it. There's a brand new way to do it. 3-day kitchen and bath. It's all about time.
Save time and money.
Do it now, don't wait till later. Call the top-notch renovator. It's about time.
3 days or less.
At 3-day kitchen and bath.
Too many tools, too much stress, and way too many bills.
Odoo replaces it all. One connected platform for every part of your business, so you can work faster, smarter, and for less. Odoo, the only software you'll ever need. Try it free today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight illnesses like pneumococcal pneumonia and RSV. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and can help protect you from getting really sick. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. See more at PfizerForAll.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
And Doug.
Limu and I created a trick to help you remember that you can customize your car insurance and save with Liberty Mutual. You see, the shirts Limu and I wear are yellow, and yellow is the color of lemons, and lemons grow on trees, and trees provide oxygen, and oxygen helps us breathe, and breathing is how you live, and you can live more life when you save money by customizing your car insurance. I agree, Limu. It's really quite simple. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
And Doug.
Limu and I created a trick to help you remember that you can customize your car insurance and save with Liberty Mutual. You see, the shirts Limu and I wear are yellow, and yellow is the color of lemons, and lemons grow on trees, and trees provide oxygen, and oxygen helps us breathe, and breathing is how you live, and you can live more life when you save money by customizing your car insurance. I agree, Limu. It's really quite simple. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM, KMOX. Built on a century, focused on today. The voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
One of my favorite segments that we do each week here on the Gray Bar Sports Open Line is when we bring on our good friend Bernie Miklasz. You hear him all over KMOX, Redbird Rush Hour, Gas House Gang, Dave Glover, Sports on a Sunday morning. Of course, you can watch his daily videos at STL Sports Central. Also read his daily columns at STL Sports Central as well. But as mentioned, he's on Sports Open Line. He's ours right now. He's Bernie Miklasz. Hey, Bernie, how are you?
I'm glad to be with you as always, my friend. Everything's good. Cardinals aren't, but we are.
Yeah. That's I think that's true. But they may be getting better and maybe a little bit more interesting here over the next couple days. I always say, and I know you agree with this, listen to the words that are coming out of the mouth of individuals with the team. It was just a few days ago when you were doing Gas House Gang with Oliver Marmol, and I think it was you who asked about Quinn Matthews, and basically Ollie said, just wait. He's going to be here. We want to see him too. Well, lo and behold, we waited. He's essentially here. It was announced he's going to start on Saturday, making his Major League debut. So an exciting time for Cardinals fans who have been clamoring to see Quinn.
Yeah, Ollie was basically, making news because, he didn't absolutely say Matthews is coming up, but it was obvious that's what he meant. And he wanted to assure everyone. So I thought that was a cool moment on the show. And I really look forward to Quinn Matthews. I mean, I think he's been on that roller coaster. He's a minor league pitcher of the year and legitimately so 2 years ago. And then 2025, he's got the shoulder strain and it set him back. It kind of messed up his mechanics and he started walking everybody. Everybody knows the whole story. And digging out of that mess, was, I think, a lot more difficult for him than perhaps he expected. But he got it done. He turned it around. He kind of fixed most of the issues, if not all of them. And I think actually it should benefit him because, he was kind of riding high. Things were coming easy. And he, for the first time, as a pitcher at any level, he really had to just sort of go, whoa, I've lost it. What do I do? And when you go through that kind of adversity, I think it does strengthen you as long as his talent's intact, and his talent is intact. That said, I mean, I can't assume, it'll be problem free, although the Blue Jays, they're not going to have any real scouting report on him. So I look forward to it. This kind of thing is fun, especially the way this season has gone south in a hurry for the Cardinals.
He gets a lot of swing and miss on pitches that I feel like big league hitters are not going to swing and miss on. Maybe they will on Saturday because, like you said, teams aren't going to know that much about him. But as he settles into his big league career, I think that's the biggest question and the thing that I'm most interested in. What's it going to look like when he doesn't have these pitches that big leaguers are just going to flail at?
I think he's got more in his portfolio now. I was looking at, there's a great site. It's a paid site. It's not a tremendous amount of money, but TJ Stats and Thomas Netesco, I always mispronounce his name. He does a great job with putting together just pages on every player where you can just like look at the charts, and it's really helpful. And I was surprised, looking at Matthews the last few weeks, just checking in on him every time he pitched. I was surprised to see so many different pitches, and I was surprised to see that so many of the pitchers were really working well. And I think he's got more in his toolbox now. And his slider has been exceptional. And everybody knows he's got the good curveball, and the changeup has been a bit of a calling card too. So I think he's got enough pitches to keep them off balance. But part of it will have to be pitch selection and making sure they're mixing it up enough. I look forward to watching him because he is very talented. I actually think people are going to kind of underestimate him now, because I'm not going to say he was a forgotten man, but once the hype train, moved past him, there's a tendency, I think, mentally for people to kind of downgrade him. I think he's ready to, show everyone or remind everyone what he's got.
His last 2 months at AAA are, and so in June he had a 2 ERA, and they go, well, okay, that can't last. You're right, it can't last. He cut it in half. He had a 1 ERA over his 4 starts in the month of July. The batting average against has been amazing. He's not giving up a lot of extra base hits. I mean, he comes in, Bernie, with a ton of AAA momentum.
Yeah, and he's getting a lot of soft contact. I mean, and again, and that's because he's been doing the AAA hitters, what I was just talking about. He just kept them off balance. They didn't know what was coming. He can change speed. He's a left-handed hitter, a left-handed pitcher, and he can kind of give them different looks. I mean, I think his angles give hitters trouble. So now, to graduate to the major leagues, you got to prove you can keep major league hitters off balance. But again, I think he's got enough to work with where a year ago at this time, or even in 2024, if you think about it, he wasn't ready because he didn't have enough of a variety of pitches that can stay ahead of the hitters to keep them guessing.
There have been a number of, when you're going through a rebuild or whatever you want to call it, there's always like transitional moments on the path. And last year at the trade deadline, that was a transitional moment when they traded away some guys. This offseason, very much a transitional moment when they trade away Sonny Gray and Wilson Contreras and Nolan Arenado and Brendan Donovan. It feels like another transitional moment is happening right now. You're going to see some guys moved at the deadline. You're going to see a rotation that likely includes both Quinn Matthews and Hunter Dobbins coming out of the break. I would suspect that Dobbins is going to be back in the rotation after some other things happen. It just feels like it's another moment here for this organization as they take that step towards getting where they eventually want to get to.
Yeah, and I think they had to do that. I think it's time to kind of infuse the rotation with some of the guys that they've been excited about. And you and I talked about this on the air a couple times, but I was doing this again today because I was catching up doing some homework. It really is astonishing to see all of the good young pitching they have in this system. And listen, people listening, I know what they're thinking. It's like, well, but how many of these guys will actually be what they think they are? They will. How many of these guys will actually be what the Cardinals think they are? And that's a good point. I mean, pitchers break down; they lose their confidence. They're not as good as we think. So yeah, there's a lot of attrition, and I'm well aware of that. But as we've talked about, the difference here is that Chaim Bloom made sure not to just go out and get like 3 or 4 guys and he's happy and says, oh, great. We got 2 or 3 rotation people. He's just getting as much pitching as he possibly can, because the more prospects you have, the more of them will reach the shore, so to speak, and instead of drowning, and you increase your talent pool. You increase your odds that some of these guys will be exactly what you dream they will be, so I'm excited about that. I really am.
We've gotten some questions on this, and Kevin and I threw it around a little bit during Redbird Rush Hour, but I want to get your thought on it because I think it's actually a really, really good question. During Oliver Marmol's tenure as the Cardinals manager, it seems like unproven relievers have to prove themselves in low leverage spots. We saw that 2 years ago with Ryan Fernandez. We've seen that with George Soriano. We saw that last year with Riley O'Brien. We saw it last year with Matt Swanson as he moved into that role. Right now, Luis Gastelum showed up to the big leagues and was immediately handed a high leverage role. Why do you think Ollie's kind of gone away from the path that he normally takes to handling Gastelum in this type of way?
Well, number one, I think that he was probably burned out, or what's the word, unenthusiastic about some of the options that he had to keep going to him over and over and over again. And this provided an opening for the changeup man, to just jump right in and kind of skip the preliminaries, the way Ollie breaks in relievers that you alluded to. And I wonder too whether Chaim Bloom had something to do with it. And before everyone does the usual, St. Louis thing, oh, he's a puppet. No. These two guys work closely together. They're a team is what they are. So they make a lot of decisions sitting down, face-to-face, conversations, constant dialogue. I would think that Chaim Bloom had some influence on that because, after all, the final decision does rest with Chaim Bloom about who to bring up.
Yeah, it's interesting, and he's a guy who's struggling right now because, Bernie, he has one major league pitch, and it's the changeup, and it's good and it plays, but when that's all you have, hitters can sit on it.
Can I do a Matt Pauley here?
Yes.
I've wanted to do a Matt Pauley here.
Okay.
All right. I think I'm going to have to push back on that one. No. All kidding aside, I guess I am pushing back a little, only because I'm a little confused, and I'm not being sarcastic when I say that. Like today, I was looking at his StatCast page because I was curious, because I do hear like, well, he can't get hitters off his changeup because he doesn't have another pitch. Now, this doesn't prove any kind of point, but I looked at the page today, and major league hitters were batting 111 against his four-seam fastball. Yeah. So I don't know how to interpret that. I mean, if you just go by the raw results, I look at that and I'm like, well, what the heck is wrong with that pitch? But there's got to be more to it than that. So I'm kind of going to meet everybody halfway on the idea that he doesn't have another pitch. He might have another pitch. The numbers suggest that it could be there, and maybe it's the way they make decisions on when he should throw it. I don't know.
No,
you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying, though.
No, you're right, and he has thrown it not quite as often as he's thrown the changeup. He throws the changeup about half the time, and then the four seamers like 40% of the time. And he'll throw a sweeper and a sinker every once in a while as well. But you're right, the numbers on the four seamer are really good. And a 111 batting average, expected batting average at 177, so not that much better. It's not being slugged. There's more slug against the changeup right now. So we spend so much time talking about pitch mix and how you want to sequence things. Maybe that's part of figuring out Gastelum right now, that he could actually sequence things a little bit differently and maybe throw some more four-seamers to set up the changeup to strike guys out.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's what he's got to do. And the next thing I would look at is, to your point, to stretch it out a little bit, is like, okay, when is he using the four-seam? What are the counts? And I haven't tracked it in real time, but I'm curious. I'm going to be curious to try to find that out a little bit. But can I tell you what I like about him pitching? Yeah. And listen, I know the results have been terrible, okay? But the Cardinals, this is supposed to be a rebuilding year. It's supposed to be a transition year where they really were going to give the opportunities to a lot of young players. I think because the team was better than everyone thought it would be, it may have changed the paradigm a little bit to where they were going to try to do both things. They were going to try to make sure young players got opportunities, but I think they also wanted to try to win, and maybe they made some compromises in that way. I know Cardinals fans, God bless them, they don't want to hear this, and I get it, man. I totally get it. But given the fact this team's going way south in a hurry, I mean, just terrible, really terrible, just about everything except starting pitching. And the record since July 5th, the record since June 17th, the offense just being incapable of scoring. Now they can act in the remaining weeks. They can conduct their business as if they are a true rebuilding team with no strings attached. And if they think that this kid will benefit even from getting beat up a little bit, the learning experience will pay off in the long run. And I like what that represents, because part of breaking into the majors is you got to learn how to cope and how to adjust to failure when you've never had it before. Well, the fact that Ali's kind of throwing the kid right into the fire, I personally think that's a good thing, because they're not, sitting there thinking, well, I don't know, because, hey, we're blah, blah, blah. We have a chance to get the 10 games over 500 or whatever, See, that part of the season's gone.
Yeah. So
they need to do everything they can. That's why Jimmy Crooks ought to be catching more. That's another example. The Cardinals are very strange with catching.
They are.
And I hope that changes. I really hope that changes, because it's bizarre. It really is. Jimmy Crooks should be playing a lot, because it's a team where you don't have any hitters, really. I mean, Walker's cold. I'm glad that J.J. Weatherholt hit a bomb today. Burleson is, a good hitter, but he hasn't hit for much power lately. And so you have Jimmy Crooks, and if anybody, I would tell everybody to go to FanGraphs and take a look at his July statistics. You would look at him and you would say, well, why is he in the dugout all the time? And the pushback would be, well, he's a left-handed batter, and you don't want him facing left-handed pitchers. Well, why not? Like, what? How's he ever going to become solid against them, or respectable against them, or learn how to hit lefties if you never let him do it?
Yeah.
Again, it's a rebuilding year. This is exactly the setting where he should be getting starts against left-handed pitchers.
The other weird thing about this whole catching dynamic is people act like Jimmy Crooks is a shortstop playing catcher from a defensive standpoint. It's not. Yadier Molina, Mike Matheny, Tom Pagnazzi, they're not on this team. Like, as good of a thrower Pedro Pajes is, he's not an especially good receiver. Ivan Herrera, he's not an especially good receiver. He obviously doesn't throw that well either. The one thing I think Herrera has shown himself to be is he might be the best pitch selector, game caller of the three. It seems like pitchers get a little bit of a bounce when they work with him. And I give a lot of credit to Herrera for the work he did in the offseason. But people complain about Crooks' defense. It's not like the other two guys on the roster are about to go win a Gold Glove.
Well, that's exactly right. And listen, nobody complained about his defense in the minors. Independent evaluators praised his defense repeatedly. I think, you come to the majors, maybe you feel a little uptight. Maybe it doesn't flow. Maybe you're a little nervous. Maybe, a couple of times there was a pass ball, whatever, you lose a little confidence. But again, that's part of the growing process, because I think I think Ali uses the term, or uses the shield of young players. Well, we're young. They're young. Young. So listen, there are people on that team that aren't young. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying they're like finished products, but I think they're wearing that out a bit. And by wearing that out a bit, by putting guys who really aren't all that young or inexperienced into that bucket, then I don't know how to explain this, but you have a guy like Jimmy Crooks who really is young, who really is inexperienced in the big leagues. He needs to play, but they make exceptions for guys that have been in the major leagues for a while and who by now should be doing certain things better. But so I don't want to keep hearing they're young all the time.
No,
I'll go with the like. I will cut.
Do we lose Bernie? We lost Bernie. Let's see if we can get Bernie back here in the next second or so. Bernie was good. He was good right there. I wanted to let him finish for sure. Bernie, if you can hear me, we can't hear you, so we'll try to get you back here in just a moment. We were about to let you go, so if we don't get you back, we'll call it a moment. But to Bernie's point, do we have Bernie back?
You got me.
You were on such a roll. You knocked out your connection.
I don't even remember what I was saying at the end. No, it's like I think they used the crutch of like, well, we're young. They're overdoing it because there are a few guys on that team who are really, really, really young. And this should be their time to play. And people shouldn't judge a Jimmy Crooks the way they would judge a veteran catcher. It's way too soon for that. It's not fair. And he's got to pick up his performance. There's no question about it.
We need to differentiate between like young and super inexperienced because the following guys are relatively young, but they have a perfectly fine amount of experience. Walker, Burleson, Herrera, Nootbaar, Wynn, all those. That's your 2 through 6 in the order today. The only non-experienced guys in the lineup today are Weatherholt, Torres, Jordan, and Church. So all but 4 guys in the lineup. Yeah, some of those guys are young, but it's not like they haven't gone through a major league season.
Well, that's right. And, and Blaze Jordan's another young one because I think he's got a lot of potential. There's a lot there, that he has yet to tap into. But again, he's just getting started. And I kind of, Lars Nootbaar today, there's no excuse for that. I mean, needless to say, and he's not young. I hear people, even in our profession, occasionally refer to him as young or whatever. He broke into the major leagues in 2021. Okay.
Yeah.
He's going to be 29 soon. Okay. He's not young. And we in the media love to tout him as like, oh, he's a great leader. And those young players look up to him and he's in the clubhouse and they go to him and, he's teaching them and, he can talk to them when they make mistakes. He's a great leader. Be quiet. No, be quiet. A great leader doesn't fall asleep. When this team has been drowning, a great leader does not fall asleep in the outfield and lose track of how many outs there are. I'm sorry. That's the kind of stuff, frankly, Matt, that drives me nuts, where we overrate certain players and we assign virtues to them that simply aren't there, at least not to the extent that we make it out to be.
Bernie, when I think about the leadership because I'm in the clubhouse, I'm in there for 50 minutes. So like there's a lot of stuff that goes on there that I have absolutely no information on, but just in my very little amount of time that I'm in there. And I see some of I see the JJ Weatherholts of the world being the one who they're locked in, they're going about their work. I see the other day, it was on McGreevy's start day. And obviously that went terrible for him. But I was in the clubhouse and McGreevy walked across the clubhouse and sat in a chair next to Jimmy Crooks. And they just sat there and talked for about 10 minutes. I have no clue what they're talking about, but I thought that seemed meaningful to me in the moment. I think what I'm trying to get to here is one of the things that I've been most impressed by these, again, I'll use the word young, but some of the unexperienced type players, but the guys who are probably going to be the next core of this team, I really like the way they go about their work. So when people are asking, oh, do they need some leader to jump up and start yelling in the clubhouse? Do they need to have a closed door meeting? I don't think they need all of that. I think they have the exact right personalities from the younger players on this team that these guys know what it means to be pros and know what it means to go about and do their work.
I totally agree with you. And, this is one thing I think, and gosh forbid, I guess I'll be arrested a half an hour from now because I'm going to say something nice about Ali Marmol. You're not allowed to do that. This is the environment that he has fostered. This is the culture that he has helped to cultivate. And those players, they conduct themselves in a way where Ollie's imprint is on it. They learn from him. They know what he wants. They like the way he wants them to do the type of things you just talked about. And it's a healthy culture. And like he mentioned the other day on Gas House Gang, after that really brutal loss on Monday night, he was talking about how he was still in his office at 1:15 in the morning, and there were players in there, and they were talking baseball.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's another indication of what's going on down there. And I get it. I get it. If a team goes in a slump and they're not playing well, it's like 100% it's the manager's fault. You know, I even see people on social media starting to go after Chaim Bloom. I mean,
I have too.
I mean, oh my goodness, it's like, I mean, listen, nobody has to tell me what it was like around here because I was literally at every postseason game they played from 1996 through 2014. But we're judging a team that is rebuilding. We're judging them and measuring them against some of the greatest teams in the history of the franchise. You tell me how that's fair.
It's not. It's not. And we need to remember that this team was not built like to be a people are questioning Chaim Bloom's ability to build a roster. This roster wasn't built. This roster is just there. And there's guys that are coming to it, but there is nothing built about this roster.
He inherited a roster, and yeah, he's in the process of changing it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Do people think this was like a 2.5 week project?
They shouldn't have. So
no, I mean, it's just silly. You know, when Tony La Russa took over, you know what they did right away? Bill DeWitt said, yeah, spend some money. You know, Tony La Russa told Walt Jockey, okay, I want this guy, this guy, this guy, that guy. They went out and bought a lot of players, and then they also went out and traded for players that had played for Tony in Oakland.
Yeah.
They didn't have to rebuild anything, even though the teams that preceded 96 were really terrible. But they didn't have to rebuild. They just Tony La Russa knew exactly who he wanted, and he had the freedom to basically say, this, all right, do this, do this, do this. Let's do this. And they had some money to spend, and they did it.
Bernie,
so what? Do we expect that type of thing to happen in this scenario? Really?
No.
I don't think we should.
I'm
sorry.
So. No, we're all good. I've gone long with you. Thank you so much for being so
right,
gracious
buddy.
with your time. And we'll
go. All right, buddy.
By the way, I'll tell you this now. No Redbird Rush Hour tomorrow because of the early game.
I got you.
All right.
Take care.
Talk
Thank
to you
you
soon, Bernie. That's Bernie Miklasz. I'm Matt Pauley. It's a Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
I'm Bill Eigel. I'm a no on data centers. Last year, when a new hyperscale data center was up for a vote in St. Charles City, I'm the only candidate for county executive who stood with you in opposition. Meanwhile, Steve Ellman was writing op-eds in support of data centers. In fact, he spent $400,000 of your taxpayer money to identify 6 locations just for data centers in St. Charles County. I'm Bill Eigel, and if you don't want data centers in our county, then I'm asking for your vote on August 4th.
Paid for by Eigel from Missouri. Lisa Borchers, treasurer.
Registered lobbyist Mike Deering is not the kind of guy you want in the state Senate.
Did you say he was a registered lobbyist?
Sure did. When conservatives like Tricia Burns tried to pass a bill to take back the 300,000 acres in Missouri allowed to be controlled by China, lobbyist Mike Deering testified against it. When conservatives like Tricia Burns fought alongside Missouri cattlemen to require foreign beef to be labeled, lobbyist Mike Deering testified against that too. While conservatives like Tricia Burns are fighting to protect your farmland from being paved over by data centers, lobbyist Mike Deering described Google's Montgomery County hyperscale data center as a
very positive thing.
Deering also endorsed liberal Democrat Chris Koster for governor and openly mocked President Trump. Registered lobbyist Mike Deering, anti-Trump, pro-Democrat, bought out by foreign ag interest, and in love with data centers. Take down data center Deering on August 4th. Vote America First conservative warrior Tricia Burns for state senate.
Paid for by Mo Constitutional Conservative Council PAC, Scott Lady Treasurer.
Hey guys, this is Kevin Wheeler. If you're looking for a little kick in the pants when it comes to dropping a little weight, getting better shape, getting more into the gym, think about Burn Balance Complex, which you can pick up at supplement superstores. I've been using it since it came out. It's fantastic. You notice right away the difference. Look, we all have busy schedules. I do and you do. You know, we all have problems sometimes with controlling our eating patterns and staying on a plan. Well, Burn Balance Complex makes that so much easier. It's not magic, but it definitely helps make it easier. It is a complete metabolism system. It's not just a fat burner. So what you're talking about is a natural weight loss option. So if you're a person that doesn't want to go get a prescription, you're not into injections, this is a great choice for you. In addition to the metabolism boost, you get to lower stress and cortisol levels, you get better sleep. It can help control appetite and cravings, all-day focused energy with no jitters, no crash at the end of the day. If you want the help, and look, we all need it, I know I do, go to Supplement Superstores, tell them your story, mention Kevin Wheeler, and they'll knock 30% off the Burn Balance Complex. You can find your location at supplementsuperstores.com.
I'm John Morgan. There are many reasons to hire Morgan & Morgan for your injury case. Reason number 3. First, all lawyers are not the same. If my family had an injury case and I couldn't hire us, there are only about 3 to 4% of the lawyers out there that I would hire. And here's why. Most of them rarely, if ever, go to trial. They just take the last best offer. Hell, you can do that yourself. Do this. If you're looking for a lawyer, Google Morgan & Morgan results and see what comes up. It may shock you. Then Google the firm you're thinking of hiring and do the same. That may shock you as well. We became the largest injury firm in the world for a reason. We won a lot. $30 billion and counting. Morgan & Morgan, or thepeople.com. Who would I hire? I'd hire us.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
Soldiers Memorial Military Museum looks at American military history through the lens of St. Louis. From the Revolutionary War to the present day, the galleries showcase stories of local service members and delve into the city's wartime history. Outside, the Court of Honors includes monuments to those who lost their lives in World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. Open Wednesday through Sunday. Admission is free. Find information about special exhibits at mohistory.org/memorial. That's mohistory.org/memorial.
Congress doesn't need more politicians. For nearly 30 years, Joan Von Dross dedicated her life to helping students learn, grow, and succeed. Now she's running for Congress to fight for lower healthcare costs, stronger public schools, and a more affordable future for Missouri families. Teachers solve problems. Politicians play politics.
I'm Joan Von Dross, Democrat from Missouri CD2, and I approve this message. Vote for me on August 4th.
Paid for by Von Dross for Congress.
In the military, the mission was clear. You knew what to do. Now, the mission has changed. Stepping into civilian life isn't about finding a job. It's finding your purpose.
I wanted a career that would leverage the skills and discipline I gained in the military. IT just felt right.
My Computer Career offers class schedules that fit into your life and skills in high demand. Put your VA benefits to work. Visit mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to jumpstart your IT career today. An elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Drip Drop is a doctor-developed, proven fast hydration that helps your body and mind work better. Trusted by firefighters, medical professionals, and over 90% of top college and pro sports teams, Drip Drop is engineered to hydrate faster and more effectively than water alone, with 3 times the electrolytes of leading sports drinks. Stock up now at dripdrop.com and use promo code RADIO20 for 20% off your first order. That's dripdrop.com, promo code RADIO20 for 20% off your first order. Head to dripdrop.com now and use promo code RADIO20.
The 3-2 pitch with the runner going a swing.
Ready to elevate your game? Join the MBA Sportscasters Forum on Tuesday, September 15th in St. Louis. Learn from Cardinals beat reporters, broadcasters, and Hall of Famer John Rooney as they break down play-by-play, reporting, interviewing, and covering the game. Then cap off the day with the Cardinals versus Giants at Busch Stadium. Step into the booth, sharpen your skills. Go to KMOX.com/events for details and registration.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Once again, Matt Pauley on KMOX.
Starting to wrap up hour number 1 of the program. Thank you so much for spending some time with us today. Hour number 2, we've got a lot coming up. We'll talk some City SC soccer. We're going to have one of the MLS Apple TV analysts on in Jaleel Anibaba. He's going to be joining us at about 7:05, just after the 7 o'clock news. Also, always love being able to catch up with the athletics director over at SIUE. Andrew Gavin, a guy who I've known for a really, really long time. Our paths have continued to cross during our respective careers, and he's a great person to be able to just talk college athletics and the state of college athletics with. So we're going to do that. Plus, SIUE had a pretty major announcement over the last couple days, so we'll tell you all about that coming up in just a few moments. A reminder for you, Cardinals Blue Jays tomorrow. They're in the Eastern time zone, so we're going to have coverage beginning at about 5 o'clock, a little bit after 5 o'clock tomorrow. So we will not have Sports Open Line or Redbird Rush Hour. We've got more Sports Open Line after the 7 o'clock news here on KMOX.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Tech, sponsored by Lenseek.
Global smartphone demand was down in the second quarter, with industry researcher Omdia reporting a 4% sales decline, with a shortage of memory chips weighing on the supply chain, as well as higher component costs for manufacturers. Despite the overall trend, Apple and Samsung each saw stronger sales, with Samsung taking 22% of the market and Apple 20%, a record high for the iPhone maker. I'm Jason Brooks.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Can you believe politicians nearly doubled state spending since 2019? Yeah, that's twice the rate of inflation.
What do we get for all that extra spending? Nothing.
Yeah, and get this, over 200 loopholes are buried in our tax code, written by lobbyists for wealthy corporations.
Our tax code is rigged against us.
We get taxed on our paycheck, our home, everything we buy.
I guess somebody's got to pay for all that spending.
That's why we need Amendment 5. It puts politicians on a leash.
Forces them to cut taxes and control spending, whether they like it or not.
Amendment 5 closes the loopholes, eliminates income taxes, cuts property taxes, and gives $3,000 a year to average working families.
We decide, not the politicians.
Amendment 5 is the biggest tax cut in Missouri history.
I'm voting yes on Amendment 5. Paid for by Missouri Promise PAC, Mark Ellinger, Treasurer.
The radical left let crime and drugs pour into our nation, and they let biological men into girls' sports. But here in Missouri, if there's a problem, we fix it. That's why Ann Wagner's fixing the mess the radical left made and delivering for us. Wagner voted to ban biological men from competing in girls' sports, and she voted to fund the police and provide more resources for Border Patrol agents, keeping our families, communities, and children safe. And Ann Wagner didn't stop there. In Congress, Wagner passed the largest working-class tax cut in American history, kept big government out of our business, protected our way of life, and ensured our communities remain safe. That's why Ann Wagner's endorsed by the Missouri Farm Bureau and Missouri Fraternal Order of Police. Vote Ann Wagner for Congress on August 4th.
I'm Ann Wagner, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Ann Wagner for Congress.
Bill, you're an old politician.
Yup, sure am.
So you know the old-timers warned that someone trying to sell you a pig in a poke was a con man.
Well, sure.
Well, no offense, Tom, but your politician's Amendment 5 is a pig in a poke, allowing politicians to raise our taxes without a vote of the people. And the politician's Amendment 4 takes away our power to do anything about it. Well, let's look at what's really inside 4 and 5.
Oh, don't do that.
5 hits hardest seniors and those struggling financially with new taxes on services like doctor visits, in-home care, and rent. Sales taxes could more than triple. For up to 80% of Missourians, it's a tax hike. And Amendment 4 ends majority rule, effectively ending our power to stop corrupt and out-of-control politicians.
Slick plan, huh?
No, Tom. 4 and 5 are schemes that hurt citizens and transfer our power and our money to politicians and lobbyists. That's why I'm voting no on the politicians' Amendments 4 and 5, paid for by Missourians for Fair Government.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood, the voice of St. Louis.
ABC News, I'm Dave Packer. A government report today shows that from April to June, the U.S. economy grew less than analysts were expecting.
And the Commerce Department also says overall economic growth is slowing down. GDP increased by an annual rate of 1.5% in the second quarter of the year. Keep in mind, though, consumers power the economy, and consumer spending has been very resilient. One sign that we are seeing in this data is that consumers are dipping into their savings to help pay for some of these higher prices.
ABC's Elizabeth Schulze. The federal government is warning communities about cyber threats to water systems after 30 plants in Minnesota were hit with cyber attacks. Multiple U.S. officials tell ABC News the attacks may be linked to Iran. Colin Gray, the father of Georgia teenager Colt Gray, who carried out a deadly mass shooting at his high school, has been sentenced to 15 years in prison. Prosecutors say he provided the rifle used in the 2024 attack, where 2 students were killed. This is ABC News. 10 people are facing charges for alleged locker room hazing incidents at a high school in Wyncote, Pennsylvania, near Philadelphia. ABC's Armando Garcia reports.
4 coaches and 6 players on the Cheltenham High School football team have been indicted by a grand jury after a 15-year-old student told one of the coaches he had been jumped by his teammates in the locker room in September 2025.
The juvenile victim described the incident as being punched, kicked, and stomped in the head and the groin with cleats, forcing him to curl up to protect himself and his head.
The district attorney says the alleged high school attackers also used a broomstick against the victim.
There has been reluctance by most parties, adults and juveniles, to tell what they knew, what they saw, what they heard.
Armando Garcia, ABC News, New York.
The school superintendent says those responsible are being held accountable through the criminal justice system. The Trump administration today announced a new campaign encouraging military veterans to become truck drivers. Dave Packer, ABC News.
At 7:02, it's a cloudy sky downtown at the Arch. Right now, 83 degrees. St. Louis homicide detectives are investigating a double shooting in South City from this afternoon. District 2 officers responded to the 3700 block of Juniata Street near Grand at about 3:50 p.m. Police say one adult man was killed. A second man was rushed to the hospital in critical condition. No suspect information or motive has been released yet. St. Louis City has a new health director, and as KMOX health editor Fred Bottomer tells us, you may recognize the name from a similar job in the past.
Dr. Faisal Khan served as St. Louis County's health director from 2021 to 2022. He was a bit controversial due to his public health order that required face masks during the COVID pandemic. Dr. Khan later moved on to head up the Seattle King County Health Department in Washington. In a news release announcing his return, only this time to head up St. Louis City's health department, Dr. Khan says he looks forward to making a real difference in the health and quality of life for St. Louis City residents. Mayor Kara Spencer called Dr. Khan a leader with deep regional knowledge and national executive experience. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
Amendment 4 would drastically raise the bar to amend the Missouri Constitution. How hard would it be to meet the new threshold?
If Amendment 4 were to pass, any future changes to the Constitution would require a 50% majority from each congressional district, not just statewide. Chris Duncan, political science professor at St. Louis University, says this could essentially give veto power to any one district.
This would give effectively the opportunity for one district to trump the will of the 7 other districts in some, sort of very skewed kind of race.
Duncan says this takes a strong democratic process and makes it very hard for citizen initiative to pass. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
We finally got reaction from St. Louis County Executive Sam Page to Panera's CEO's decision to move the headquarters to Massachusetts.
Panera is a St. Louis success story.
a local guy who lived down the street from me in Creve Coeur started St. Louis Bread Company, a nice guy who sold out 15 years ago, and it's been sold twice, and now it's $1 billion enterprise.
Page says St. Louis should be proud of the Panera success story. He does note that the CEO is from Massachusetts, where the company is moving to. Forecast overnight, partly cloudy, low 69 degrees. For Friday, we've got a mix of clouds and sun, some scattered showers and thunderstorms as well, especially tomorrow afternoon. Some of them could be strong as well. High temperature of 85 degrees. Those showers and storms persist through tomorrow night, low 70. For Saturday, mix of clouds and sun and some scattered showers and thunderstorms. For the weekend, high 78. Clears up on Sunday, just sun and 83 degrees. Right now, it's a cloudy sky and 83 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Once again, Matt Pauley on KMOX.
We are back at it as we do roll through a Thursday night edition of the program. Cardinals baseball, they lost today to the Cubs in 10 innings, and they get back at tomorrow. They will be in Toronto to open up a weekend series against the Blue Jays. First pitch a little bit after 6 o'clock, and we'll have pregame coverage a little bit after 5 o'clock. City SC, they are back at it coming up on Saturday. They're going to match up against Salt Lake. That's going to be a 7:30 start over at Energizer Park. Of course, you can hear it on our sister station, Y98. You'll also be able to watch it on Apple TV. They've got the full coverage, and we are efforting right now. Jaleel Anibaba, he is going to be the analyst on the broadcast coming up on Saturday. So we hope to be joined by him coming up in just a moment or so. Talk through what's going on with City. They're on a really good roll. Last time out, a 1-0 win against Colorado. Before that, they beat the LA Galaxy 3-1. Before that, they beat Sporting KC 3-2. Before that, that was before the break. They got a win against the Austin team 3-0. So it has been a while. It's been a while since they have just flat out lost a matchup. So hopefully we're able to talk with Jaleel coming up in the next moment or so. But it has certainly been a good run for this team here recently, and that's good to see, and that's a lot of credit to. They brought in a new sporting director. They brought in a new coach. They did all those things, and they seem to be getting some results right now. The results were not there at the beginning of the season, and sometimes that's tough because when there are struggles, and then you make a regime change, and the same type of struggles exist. It is very, very easy just to say, well, this is more of the same. Here we go again. Nothing has really changed. And you do want to remember that patience is a thing, that patience is something that is important in everything, but in sports for sure. And a little bit of patience here when it comes to City. And now they're seemingly winning. And if the season were to end, they'd be in a playoff position. So you'd love to see them be a playoff team, and maybe this is just what they needed to go through the full reset. There are probably some decisions that were made early on in the existence of this team when you think about the decision to move on from Bradley Carnell as quickly as they did. Just all the hiring of Olaf Melberg was obviously a terrible, terrible decision that did not work. But now some of the decisions seem to be making a little bit more sense, and we're seeing results. And it's more entertaining. It's more fun. I'm not going to sit here and claim to be a soccer guy. I'm not. I don't think you have to listen to this show very often to know that there is not expertise on the sport of soccer with the words that are coming out of my mouth. But I know sports, and I know entertainment, and there are times when I turn on City SC, so especially over the last couple of years, and I've said, this is boring. What are they doing? There's nothing happening. And that is not what I have felt about this team recently. As I have turned games on, as I've watched, it's been better. It's been more entertaining. And that's why I like asking questions to people who know more than what I do, because I like being able to basically ask the question, hey, this looks better to me. Why is this better? And then they can explain to me why it is better. So that's why we were hoping to be able to talk with Jaleel Anibaba. I don't think we have him. Is that correct? Okay, we do not have Jaleel. So we'll give it another minute or so, see if we can get locked in with him, hopefully, and be able to talk with him about all things City SC. Again, they are going to be in action coming up this weekend. The team has added a little bit to the roster as well. They've gotten a bit healthier. There just seems there's a lot of positive momentum for this team and for this organization, and I think it's palpable. I think you can feel it. You can sense it. It's just different the way things have been going. And I know their fans are excited about what's taking place as well. It is a long season. There is still, there is a ton of soccer left. They don't play their final regular season game until November. It is such a long season that they go through. And it's a weird time right now for MLS because you have the long break this year that goes along with the World Cup. You're starting to get ready for the transition to when you're going to have your calendar that more closely goes along with the international calendar, which I don't love. I've never loved that. I've always thought, and I say this from a non-soccer person's perspective, so I'm probably wrong. I can acknowledge that I'm likely not correct in this. But when I see a sport that is trying to grow domestically, right? MLS trying to grow from a U.S. standpoint. Soccer doesn't need to grow internationally. Soccer is the number one sport in the world. I know that. I understand that. Major League Soccer still has work to do as they try to catch up with the NFL, with Major League Baseball, with the NBA and the NHL. They're not there. Even college athletics, for that matter. They're not there. So the reason I never liked the idea of the switch in the calendar is because it takes you out of the summer months where you are competing less against more sports. If you're playing in a different part of the year, well, you're competing with the NFL, you're competing with the NBA, you're competing with the NHL, you're competing with all of those teams, and it seems tougher for me to break through. That's the point that I'm trying to get to. If you want to have a breakthrough, and maybe they feel like they've already broken through, maybe with Messi being such a big deal, maybe they just feel like that they've gone through that. I understand from like a business perspective, from a soccer perspective, from all those being lined up with the international calendar, it makes more sense. You had to do some weird and funky things. You were basically having it wasn't free agency, but you were these player transfer windows that were going on when leagues internationally were having their off seasons. Like all that is part of the why they want to make the switch. I just wonder, are they missing out on an opportunity to grow their league when they're going to be competing more against more sports? When Major League Baseball is your only competition, and don't forget, I'm talking to you in St. Louis, where baseball is the biggest deal in the world. There are very few communities across the country that support baseball and live and die with baseball the same way that we do in St. Louis. That was one of the weirdest things for me going and living in other places. Growing up in St. Louis, I thought everybody loved baseball the way we did. I thought everybody went out and, how the team was playing very much dictated the feeling of how things went during the just the overall morale of the city, right? We feel better about things in St. Louis when the Cardinals are playing good baseball. Just think about this year. Where when the team was playing great baseball earlier in the season, it felt real, it felt really real. And now I think we have to kind of look back at it and say, okay, how real was it? And we were having the same conversations last year. And I'll raise my hand. I said time and time again, okay, yeah, I know that they kind of have the same record as they did last year, but this feels different. And it did feel different. Was I being a prisoner of the moment? Maybe. That could be. There's a possibility that I was being a little bit of a prisoner of the moment when it came to how it felt, but it did feel different. It did feel like we were watching this young group that was going to be part of this Cardinals core moving forward, having a breakthrough. And maybe we overstated the breakthrough a little bit. I'm willing to acknowledge that as being certainly a possibility. And now we're where it's at, and it does feel different walking around. When I'm doing yard work and I see neighbors and they want to come over and talk about baseball and talk about how great it is of what's going on with the Cardinals, well, over the last couple weeks, that hasn't existed quite as much. When you're standing around in any given business, when you're at a restaurant and you can overhear the people who are talking in the booth behind yours for so long this year, it felt like all these conversations were talking about the Cardinals and how much fun it is and how exciting it is. And that has waned a little bit as the team has not played as good a baseball recently. So that's a bummer. That's a bummer. I still think that this team can continue to compete for something this year. Let's revisit that statement after the trade deadline, which is just a few days away. Trade deadline is going to be coming up on Monday. August 3rd is the trade deadline this year. So we'll see what the roster looks like. The only thing that could really happen if they go trade, say, Ryan Stanek, Riley O'Brien, and JoJo Romero, which I don't think is likely. I don't think all three of those guys are going to get traded. In fact, of the three, the only guy that I would put above 50% at being traded would be Stanek. I think there's a below 50% chance that Romero gets traded, and I would feel the same way about Riley O'Brien. But look, crazy things happen when it comes to a trade deadline, and starts moving fast, and all of a sudden offers start coming in. And Heim talked about this. I think you talked about it with Tom this past Sunday morning, where he said there's stuff that happens within 2 hours of the deadline that you never, ever, 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 ever thought was going to happen. So if that happens and all of a sudden you feel like you can really continue to add more exciting talent to your organization, well, then you do it. And you deal with the consequences later of how that might impact the Major League roster. But that's the only thing. If they trade a bunch of relief pitchers, I'm not sure that they have the pieces to be able to replace that, even to kind of tread water this year. That would be the area that I would be most concerned about. This is the Gray Bar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX. SIUE Athletic Director Andrew Gavin is going to join us coming up in just a few moments. But right now, I do want to tell you about my friends at i3 Broadband. I love i3 Broadband, and they are the internet service provider in my home. If you don't have them, the first thing I would say is check and see if they're available in your neighborhood. They are continuing to grow throughout the St. Louis area. They're not available in every single neighborhood yet. But like if you've checked before, check again, because they are always adding to their infrastructure, and they're always adding more neighborhoods. So you go to i3broadband.com/radio, i3broadband.com/radio, and put in your address. And if they're available, you really should have a serious consideration about adding them as your internet service provider. I always say, money-wise, I never feel uncomfortable with what they're charging. I think I get a really great value for what I pay for. Speed, they've got gig speed internet, 1 gig, 2 gig. You can get 8 gig internet where the speed is always mirrored, upload and download. That is a big deal. And then the reliability, it's awesome. No more worrying about those micro dropouts, or all of a sudden your internet goes down. You never know when it's going to come back. Check them out for yourself. Head to the website, i3broadband.com/radio. That's i3broadband.com/radio.
I love a girls' weekend, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now I'm all in with clearer skin, thanks to Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy.
You can usually find me in the kitchen, but my active psoriatic arthritis can limit me at times. Now I'm still in the mix with Skyrizi to treat my joint symptoms.
With Skyrizi, most people with plaque psoriasis saw 90% clearer skin when measured from head to toe at 4 months.
Or if you're an adult with active psoriatic arthritis, Skyrizi helps you move with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
There's nothing like clearer skin.
There's nothing like better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi. Visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
We've been here 30 years, 30 Christmases in this house, and we have the traditions that most families have.
That's Terry talking about her experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We did Rhino Shield 14 years ago, and the house still looks the same as the first day. Rhino Shield really worked with me to help me get just the right nice soft yellow, and it's 14 years later, and it's the same color.
The main reason Terry called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by its 25-year transferable warranty.
It just sounded wonderful that we could have the house coated with Rhino Shield and not have to worry about it again for 25 years.
Take it from Terry. Give Rhino Shield a call now for a free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
There have been neighbors that have come by and said, "Did you just have your house painted?" Because they wanted to know who the contractor was. And I said, "No, it's actually Rhino Shield."
877-25rhino.com.
I'm Bill Eigel. I'm a no on data centers. Last year, when a new hyperscale data center was up for a vote in St. Charles City, I'm the only candidate for county executive who stood with you in opposition. Meanwhile, Steve Ellman was writing op-eds in support of data centers. In fact, he spent $400,000 of your taxpayer money to identify 6 locations just for data centers in St. Charles County. I'm Bill Eigel, and if you don't want data centers in our county, then I'm asking for your vote on August 4th.
Paid for by Eigel from Missouri. Lisa Borchers, treasurer.
Every kid deserves a chance to play and a chance to thrive. For nearly 30 years, Cardinals Care has been helping make that possible through Redbird Rookies, Cardinals Nike RBI, youth ball fields, and grants that support local children. From July 24th through July 30th, you can help continue that mission by supporting the Caring for Kids campaign. Bid on exclusive Cardinals experiences, purchase 50/50 raffle tickets, enter the Caring for Kids sweepstakes, or make a donation. Learn more at cardinals.com/caringforkids.
You know, here in St. Louis, word of mouth still matters, and I'm pretty careful about who I recommend, especially when it comes to something as personal as estate planning. I'm Tom Ackerman. My family has been working with the Lederman Law Firm for over 20 years now, and the reason is simple. They don't just create documents and send you on your way. They help make sure your plan works. Because let's be honest, life changes. Family needs and circumstances change. Laws change. But most estate plans don't change over time as needs, circumstances, and laws change. They're outdated, sitting in a drawer. People assume they're fine, and their plan will work when they need it to work. At the Lederman Law Firm, it's not a one-time transaction. It's an ongoing process. They build a plan to protect your family and your assets, and then for a fixed annual fee, they help keep it up to date as both your life and assets change. Check out the Lederman Law Firm at LedermanLaw.com or give them a call at 314.
Insurance. And now we're customizing this late night ad to make you more alert, which could help your driving. And science tells us that pulsing beats faster, stimulating audio like traveling sound, and voices on the higher, so-called brighter end of the audio spectrum like this can encourage focus. Also, a familiar tune can help, so...
Liberty, 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 liberty.
To have a roof over your head, a nice roof over your head, is very important.
That's Rick talking about his experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago, and they're very cooperative on getting us the right paint. They were in and out and done in no time. Once it was finished, looked great. We were very happy with it.
The main reason Rick called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by a 25-year transferable warranty.
We've watched a lot of people get their house painted 3 or 4 times, and we haven't had to do any of it. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to have to paint it every 5-7 years.
Take a tip from Rick and put down the paintbrush and call Rhino Shield for your free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago. Financially makes sense, especially if it's going to last like this did. It still looks great.
Call now. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
No pain, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Want to make the most of your tax refund? File with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They help you get your biggest refund, and then we help you do more with it. With a personalized plan designed to help you hit your money goals. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
The 3-2 pitch with the runner going a swing.
Ready to elevate your game? Join the MBA Sportscasters Forum on Tuesday, September 15th in St. Louis. Learn from Cardinals beat reporters, broadcasters, and Hall of Famer John Rooney as they break down play-by-play, reporting, interviewing, and covering the game. Then cap off the day with the Cardinals versus Giants at Busch Stadium. Step into the booth, sharpen your skills. Go to KMOX.com/events for details and registration.
America is turning 250 this year, and Circa Sports is celebrating by offering all users in Missouri $250. For everyone in Missouri, all you have to do is deposit $250 on your Circa Sports app, then play through that deposit. Once you do, Circa Sports will reward you with $250 right in your account. This is available for everyone in Missouri, new and existing users. Celebrate 250 years and find out more at circasports.com today. Must be 21 or older and in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
I'm Dr. Colleen Bosler with the Audiology Center, and I'm talking with my associate, Dr. Adam Voss. What happens to a person's brain when they ignore their hearing loss?
There is such a strong connection between the ear and the brain. Ignoring your hearing loss can cause the brain to become lazy and the speech areas in the brain to shrink. This is partially why you can hear the words, but you cannot understand them. If a hearing loss goes untreated for too long, it may cause an irreversible change in the brain. It is incredibly important to have your hearing screened at 60 or older, or sooner if you're noticing difficulty. And the sooner someone treats their hearing loss, the better and quicker their brain will adapt to hearing sound again. Studies show that those who get hearing aids, even with a mild hearing loss, are much more successful hearing aid users as compared to those that wait longer.
So call us today to get your comprehensive hearing evaluation with one of our doctors. 636-441-7470, or visit us online, theaudiologycenterstl.com.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-478-6430 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-478-6430. That's 800-478-6430. What do you have to lose? Call 800-478-6430. Again, 800-478-6430.
And Doug. Limu and I created a trick to help you remember that you can customize your car insurance and save with Liberty Mutual. You see, the shirts Limu and I wear are yellow, and yellow is the color of lemons, and lemons grow on trees, and trees provide oxygen, and oxygen helps us breathe, and breathing is how you live, and you can live more life when you save money by customizing your car insurance. I agree, Limu. It's really quite simple. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Save big money on your outdoor projects now at Menards. Create stunning patios, walkways, and retaining walls with our huge in-stock selection of durable concrete landscape blocks ready to take home today. Plus, get free estimates with our easy-to-use design program in-store, or on Menards.com. Save big money on our smooth patio block on sale now through August 2nd. Plus, check out our weekly flyer for more great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM KMOX.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Once again, Matt Pauley on KMOX.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. This is a